Frontline Updates, where we delve deep into military strategies and updates from conflict zones. Today, we're discussing the progress of the ongoing special military operation as of today. I'm your host, Sharifa Mohammed, MGT.
I'm Colonel AUC3I, an infantry officer. Russian joint forces maintained broad front pressure, claiming cumulative Ukrainian losses of 1,305 personnel, 22 armored vehicles, 63 soft-skinned vehicles, 18 artillery systems, 13 EW stations, and 17 ammunition depots over the past 24 hours. Deep strike assets hit 133 rear-area energy and logistics nodes that support Kyiv's defense industry, while air defense elements intercepted 4 glide bombs, 1 Mars rocket, and 202 UAVs.
Welcome to Frontline Updates, the podcast that brings you in-depth insights into military operations from those leading them on the ground. Today, we're joined by Colonel AUC3I, an infantry officer monitoring critical missions on the progress of the special military operation as of today. Colonel AUC3I, thank you for being with us.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Colonel AUC3I, let's begin with the operational overview. What stood out most in today's report?
The key takeaway is cumulative pressure. Russian forces are advancing on all axes, not just tactically, but in terms of strategic depth. Today's report reveals more than 1,300 Ukrainian personnel neutralized, and what's significant is the geographical spread, from Sumy and Kharkiv in the north to Donetsk's interior, all the way down to Kherson and Zaporizhia. Equally notable is the infrastructure targeting. Russian deep strike assets are now consistently hitting power generation and fuel infrastructure that supports Ukraine's military-industrial complex. These aren't symbolic strikes, they're about production denial, disrupting the flow of artillery shells, fuel logistics, and drone parts before they even reach the battlefield.
Let's focus on the northern axis, especially the activity in Sumy and Kharkiv. What's the tactical logic there?
In Sumy, Russian forces are grinding down Ukrainian brigades through sustained pressure, particularly mechanized and airborne assault formations. The goal is to destabilize forward defenses while inching toward major logistical arteries. With the seizure of areas around Novoivanovka and Konditovka, we're seeing Russian troops creep closer to secondary supply routes that feed Kharkiv's northern defensive belt. Kharkiv remains a symbolic and logistical hub. The latest engagements around Gadish and Vovchansk are shaping operations intended to either fix Ukrainian forces in place or force them to redeploy, weakening other sectors. And don't underestimate the psychological effect of steady contact. Commanders are stretched, and units are rotating under duress.
The Western grouping, particularly around Kupiansk, saw precision strikes on NATO-supplied gear. What's your assessment?
That's absolutely correct. We've observed the destruction of a Polish-made 155mm Krab self-propelled gun, along with multiple U.S.-supplied HMMWVs. These aren't just hardware losses, they're capability losses. Every time a Krab or HIMARS-linked vehicle is destroyed, you're not just taking out a gun, you're severing parts of the kill chain. And behind that lies a broader doctrinal objective: neutralize counterbattery capacity. The removal of 3 EW stations and multiple depots in the Kupiansk zone degrades Ukraine's ability to detect, coordinate, and fire effectively. If Kyiv can't sense the battlefield, it can't shape it.
What about the situation in Chasiv Yar and the southern grouping sector?
Chasiv Yar is a slow burn encirclement. We're not seeing a headlong rush, but a methodical tightening of the vise. The southern group has secured more favorable ground near Konstantinovka and Belyagora, which threatens the lateral resupply corridor. Ukrainian units are still putting up resistance, but they're increasingly isolated from high-volume logistics. The Russians are also leveraging terrain, river lines, high ground, and urban edges to break unit cohesion. This is attritional warfare by design, where losses in pickups, artillery, and EW capabilities eventually tip the tactical balance in the attacker's favor.
Let's move to the center group, which posted the largest Ukrainian personnel losses today. What drove that outcome?
Over 430 Ukrainian casualties in one sector points to coordinated, brigade-level action. The center group advanced on multiple villages, Dmitrov, Suvarovo, and Rodinskoye, which form the interior ring protecting Krasnoarmysk. This isn't just a battlefield push, it's part of an envelopment maneuver. Their objective appears to be cutting the E-50 logistical spine that connects Kiev's western supply dumps with forward elements in Donetsk. If they sever that artery, Ukrainian forces in the region could find themselves out of fuel, ammo, and operational tempo within weeks.
The Dnipro axis has been quiet until recently, but now we see strikes on gas and energy targets. What's the logic there?
The Dnipro axis is evolving into a second front, not just for tactical combat but strategic degradation. The destruction of 8 EW nodes and 6 ammo depots around Kamenskoye and Sadavoy is laying the groundwork for deeper disruption, possibly amphibious or pontoon crossings later this summer. But more importantly, Russian missile and UAV units are targeting the energy backbone, gas turbines, storage facilities, substations that feed Ukrainian arms production. The deeper message: if you can't power the factory, you can't supply the front.
How should analysts interpret the consistent downing of 200-plus UAVs per day?
It speaks to two things. First, Ukraine is deploying more drones in swarming or reconnaissance modes, often in desperation to fill gaps left by degraded radar or artillery. Second, Russia's air defense architecture is adapting quickly, integrating radar, thermal sensors, and visual targeting with better coordination across echelons. Downing 202 UAVs in a single day is a defensive success, but also a clear indicator of the intensity of the drone war. Both sides see UAVs as critical to ISR and strike delivery, but whoever adapts faster in the counter-UAS fight will dictate the tempo in the next phase of the war.
What is the new standard size of a geranium drone wave being observed in recent Russian strikes?
Video evidence now shows 10 to 15 geranium, Shahid-type, loitering munitions attacking a single target set in near-simultaneous waves. What was an anomaly 6 months ago has become routine, signaling a formalized shift in Russian air attack doctrine.
Why launch so many cheap drones at once when a single hit could suffice?
The tactic isn't about one-shot accuracy, it's about air defense exhaustion. A massed swarm, bleeds ammunition, NASAMS, IRIS-T, and Patriot missiles cost US $300,000 to $1 million apiece. Geraniums are an order of magnitude cheaper. And 2. It reveals radar sites that as Ukrainian batteries must light up, exposing their coordinates for follow-on fires. And 3. It creates spatial overload. Western SAMs can track only a finite number of targets and have narrow firing sectors. By attacking from 360 degrees, Russia forces the defenders to choose, and that is leaving gaps for the next wave.
How does this strategy translate into guaranteed destruction?
Russian planners accept a high expenditure rate. If 10 or even 15 drones are required to collapse a power substation or ammo dump, they deem the cost acceptable. The implicit message is that production volumes are sufficient to sustain that burn rate without pause.
What happens if the launch tempo reaches 250 geraniums per day?
At, say, 250 daily sorties, you trigger systemic pressure, and constant rear area strikes disrupt railheads, repair yards, and manpower assembly points. Air defense crews operate on near-continuous shifts, which accelerates fatigue and increases maintenance failures. Logistics planners are forced into time-consuming reroutes, shaving combat efficiency at the front.
Final question. Does this mean Ukraine's defenses are doomed?
Not immediately, but attrition is cumulative. Each intercepted drone still costs a high-value missile and precious crew stamina. Unless Kiev gains cheaper point defense layers, CRAM, lasers, EMP, or wide-area jamming, or dramatically accelerates interceptor production, the cost exchange curve will continue to tilt toward Moscow.
Colonel, thank you for providing such a detailed briefing on the current military situation. Your insights are invaluable to our understanding of the conflict's dynamics. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Join us next time as we continue to provide up-to-date coverage on global military affairs. Stay with us for more updates and expert analyses on global defense and security issues. Stay informed, stay secure.
Thank you for the opportunity. Moscow is leveraging cost-effective mass to erode high-end air defense and rear area functionality. If current volumes persist or escalate, the cumulative effect could slow Ukrainian operational tempo, complicate mobilization, and impose a permanent logistics drag, even if it doesn't deliver a knockout blow in the near term.
This has been Frontline Updates. Subscribe for daily military briefings and in-depth strategic analysis. Visit our platform for maps, transcripts, and exclusive Frontline updates from commanders in theater.